Welcome to
Gallifrey Pirate Radio.
Yes, I am your host, David Beauchamp. These are my two wonderful co-hosts for this episode.
I'm Clayton.
And I'm Angela.
And we are talking about God Complex. This is an episode I really, really enjoyed. I thought it was a great episode. But let's jump in, because I'm enjoying just jumping right into this thing. What did you guys like about this episode?
I like that the doctor actually went and visited one of the older episodes, like, not really companion, but it's one of the guys that's kind of thrown in there.
That's a different episode.
The one, crap!
That's a different episode.
You need to explain,
Yeah, God Complex is the
one
hotel.
in the hotel. Can we start over?
No, that's after fun.
No!
Yeah.
No, because we watched it 2 weeks ago, and we watched them right after each other,
Yeah.
so... No, let's start over.
No, we can't.
Yes, you can.
No, we can't.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
We need to actually go over, because we haven't watched
it,
these in so long.
The things I loved about it was just how shamelessly budget cut this episode was. The way that almost every shot of the episode takes place in one of 2 or 3 hotel rooms or one of 2 or 3 hallways. I mean, it's like, you know, the really, really old Doctor Who stuff where they reuse the same corridor over and over and over again.
They had to make a budget for the Neil Gaiman episode.
Oh, yeah, I'm not disputing that. It's just, I actually really appreciated that, you know, they didn't have much money, didn't really see any reason to hide it, so they just go, hey, you guys really like watching the Doctor and a couple companions just run back and forth up and down the same hallway from different angles, right? Of course you do. And then they managed to make a good episode out of that.
Oh, it was I thought it was great.
And then they threw in a bunch of political commentary.
Oh, God.
Holy cow.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit? This is a little bit for this episode.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it didn't really bother me. I mean, was it glaring? Yeah. Did it affect the story at all? I don't think so.
I liked all the pictures on the wall, so they just showed how many different aliens had been in there.
Yeah, which is actually kind of cool. I thought that was a really nice touch. You know, seeing the the different races, different species, and stuff like that pop up, where it just wasn't all human.
I think the thing that bothers me about the idea that there's actual political commentary, though, is just that it's so mixed in its message. It sort of goes, okay, Muslims aren't scary, but any form of faith will get you killed.
Well, I mean, that was the point of the episode. That's what the creature was doing. But, I mean, I think another reason why they might have had the political commentary stuff in there was to date the episode.
Oh, yeah.
You know, to give us an idea of when the episode was occurring with other people.
Although I did like the conspiracy theorist blogger.
Oh, yeah.
I just really
we
appreciate...
We have the same conspiracy theories over there that we do here.
Yeah, I think it's so cool that, they're not worried about MI6, they're worried about the CIA.
Yeah.
I mean, he practically was talking about fluoride in the drinking water. Yeah. It was just so weird that, those conspiracy theories just sort of, they cross borders.
Yeah. One thing I would have liked, going back to the pictures on the wall, if we would have seen some classic Who monsters. I would have loved to see an ice wire or something, just to hint that the world is bigger than just...
We saw angels, that's all you needed.
Oh, the angels were awesome to see again. I mean, because he did promise us them this season, and I thought he delivered them extremely well. So, what didn't you like about this episode?
It almost seemed like... I don't know. You guys talk about it first. Let me see if I can figure out a way to word this.
I thought the ending fell a little flat, and I'm not really sure why.
It almost seemed like a cop-out.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it was a cop-out. I think it was setting up the season finale.
Yeah.
With what the Minotaur said.
Oh yeah, it works well to advance the plot.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really work so well for making it a good standalone episode, I think.
And they showed the monster too soon, I thought. Like, at first you're like, oh no, what's going on? What's going on? Oh, it's a Minotaur.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, okay, maybe that's just something that she sees because, that's her scary thing, but it just kept coming up. I was like, oh. okay. I mean, he looked really cool, but it just seemed like they showed him way too early, so it wasn't really a surprise.
And even though it is supposed to be an episode about the, it's sort of a follow-up to The Girl Who Waited, in a way.
Yeah.
In that it's the Doctor trying to get Amy to give up her faith in him so that he can let her down gently when he eventually, sends her back to her normal life. That worked really well, I thought. But at the same time, there's sort of another more subtle callback to that, I think. The alien, the one stranger from the episode who ends up surviving. Most of the deaths in the episode are on his head, because the Doctor could have figured things out so much earlier if it hadn't been for him ruining everything by letting the other guy go.
Yeah.
And the Doctor never addresses that. It's pretty clear he knows what's going on there because he's not an idiot. But even though this guy is indirectly responsible for the death of someone he was grooming to be his next companion, he never calls the guy out on it, makes no attempt to punish him, drops him back off on his own planet when everything's done, because the Doctor does not deal in individual lives. That's not really his thing. He's just sort of above that level of human morality.
Well, I mean, it's not human.
Yeah, so I mean, I thought it was interesting that even as they try and humanize him with his reactions to Amy, they still keep him distinctly alien in a way.
Oh, yeah.
I also like how Rory saw the exit. He knew no one was coming to save him.
Yeah, I mean...
He had no faith in anyone helping him out, so...
Oh, that actually is a decent follow-up to the previous
Yeah,
episode.
he has no faith in the Doctor. I mean, has he really had faith in the Doctor at all?
Not really, but I think that there is sort of a friendship or some sort of camaraderie building up there for a while.
There's a mutual understanding.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 2,000 years worth of military service under his belt. On some level, I think that for a while he sort of began seeing the Doctor almost as a fellow soldier in a way.
Pikachu!
And then he just, by this episode, he just sort of gives up on that entirely because of what he's seen the Doctor do.
So, there's one other thing we really have to talk about this episode with, is what was in the Doctor's room. Because one thing we clearly hear is the cloister bell. And the only time you hear the cloister bell is when there's danger, when there's trouble.
I really don't think that's what it's connected to, though.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, that's what the noise was. That was definitely the cloister bell, and that's what that is.
The Doctor sees it and doesn't confront it.
He smiles.
Because to that point, he still believes that fear is what's letting the monster kill everyone.
Yeah. I mean, could it be the TARDIS? I mean, the TARDIS is clearly involved with what was in his room.
I kind of think that it's the fear that he confronts later on in the episode. I think that it ties in a little bit to letting the older Amy die in the previous episode. I kind of think that his big problem, his big fear, is letting go.
Yeah, but the thing is, what we're supposed to see in those rooms is faith in a way too.
I mean, I think that it's just what he saw there was probably just Amy living a perfectly happy, normal, functional life
but
away
see,
from it.
that makes no sense with the cloister bell. That's the one thing that stops me from buying that's what was in his room. Because the cloister bell is always a thing for danger, a warning from the TARDIS. And the only time you ever hear that is when you're inside the TARDIS.
Yeah, but he was on his way to die at the end of that very episode where he does just that, where he leaves her.
See, I almost want to say, and it wouldn't surprise me if we don't later on see what was in his room come next season or the 50th anniversary, because I would almost say it has to do with Susan. That is his first mistake that we ever knew on the show.
I kind of think it's a throwaway, honestly. I don't expect them to go back to it.
It's Moffat. Moffat never does anything throwaway. And that's just me. I mean, he's such from the school of J. Michael Straczynski or Joss Whedon, where something that happened like season 1 will be relevant all the way in season 6.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is if you watch The Beast Below, this is sort of jumping the gun. but there is actually clearly a drawing of graffiti of the Doctor and his mouth shown shut. I mean, which is tying back into the silence, which we're still finding out about.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, Moffat, you never know what's going to be relevant and what's not going to be, which is half the fun with watching the show with him in charge. Mm-hmm. Unlike Davies, where everything's going to ramp up in each season. With Moffat, we have a much more grand storytelling style. So I mean, I'm always watching what's going to be relevant down the road. Because I mean, still, which I'll probably mention again, we still don't know who blew up the TARDIS, which is still one of the big questions from the first season of Matt Smith, which we still don't have an answer for yet. But yeah. So, and also, I think the car was sort of the makeup gift to Rory over what the Doctor did in The Girl Who Waited.
Yeah, but
that was his dream car.
Yeah.
It could be a big makeup gift to Rory just for everything.
Yeah. And I did like the fact the house was almost TARDIS blue.
Yeah, that's the best
glorious.
touch. That's the best touch in the whole episode, I think.
Yeah. So, anything else about this episode you want to discuss, say anything about?
No, I can't think of anything.
Okay. So, this is Gallifrey Pirate Radio signing off on God Complex. And until next time, we are signing off.